Welcome back to the Red Wings Report with Strings and Pucks. This is Jeremy Laura. Just some quick updates for the Red Wings and some thoughts on the blue line, on what's coming up. So yesterday, Detroit had 6 players on waivers: Ian Mitchell, Dominic Shine, Austin Watson, John Leonard, William Legason. All of them made it through to Grand Rapids. I don't think there was any concern that they wouldn't. They're trimming down the roster. Carter Bear, he's heading back to junior, and I'd said a couple of videos ago, Carter's just not ready for the NHL, and with them not coming to an agreement about the AHL, with the CHL transfer agreement for 19-year-olds, with not getting that in place, he's got no choice. It kind of stinks because I think Bear's development would have been best served in the AHL, but he'll work on things in the CHL as he continues to heal up. Upcoming waivers, this is where it's going to get interesting because there are some names that could be looking at the waiver wire that it's a coin flip a little bit, like JT Compher on the waiver wire. If he goes on waivers, and it's a coin flip if he'll go, right? And part of that is because if you go to cap wages, Andrew Kopp's listed on a IR on there, and with no explanation. So I don't know if Kopp just tweaked something, if he's injured again. If he's hurt, that probably improves Compher's chances of not having to be waived or be the odd man out. But if Compher were to go on waivers and make it through, I think that makes him much more tradable. Again, that's an opinion. And of course, if he went on waivers and someone picked him up, you're solving 3 years of problems right there, in my opinion. One to really watch is Jonathan Berggren. I almost guarantee he'd get picked up on waivers. Pittsburgh had been interested in him in some deal proposals last year, rumored anyway. If Berggren went on waivers, I'm almost positive he'd get picked up. But we'll see that. He's just, for some reason, even though you can see the skills he brings to the ice, there just seems to be a little bit of apathy on with the coaching staff on him. Jacob Bernard Docker, I don't know if he's going to hit waivers or not. Hall, honestly, I'd be fine if they waived Hall. I thought they'd buy Hall out this summer, and I kind of had hoped they'd buy Hall out this summer. He just doesn't do anything to impress, and this is the last year of his deal, so they didn't want to buy him out, put him on waivers. I guess bury $1 million if you can, but someone on the D is probably going to have to hit waivers. So that brings up the next point, that Erik Karlsson, the chatter out of Pittsburgh, is starting to stir up again, that they're regretting how they kind of held steady on not moving him all summer. You guys remember the summer was horrific for moving players. Just not much happened. Asking prices didn't come down, and according to some of the analysts, so many teams thought they were so close that they didn't want to move pieces. Pittsburgh was one of the only teams that was openly knowing that this was going to be a rough year for them. So they held on to Karlsson, and it sounds like they held on too long because Pittsburgh's portion of his cap hit is still $10 million. Someone from the organization said yesterday, anonymously, of course, that if they retain cap, they know they can move him. Detroit continues to be listed as the most interested team in Erik Karlsson. So just putting it together, Kyle Dubas rumored to possibly be willing to take on Hall, and I know they liked Berggren. So if you can move out Hall and Berggren and get Karlsson with some sort of retention, because I don't know that you want to eat the $10 million, but you still have to get Karlsson on board because he has to agree to come. But again, if it's heading that direction, Pittsburgh wants to get this done, and they're willing to lower the price enough, it seems like there's a deal to be made there because Berggren's on the cusp. And if Dubas is willing to take Hall for a year that, they know nothing's really going to happen, who knows? And for what it's worth, I'd be fine with Karlsson coming to Detroit. He'd be the second best right shot defenseman on the team. Yeah, you're getting a 50-point guy instead of a 100-point guy, but you're still getting a 50-point guy. And what Edvinsson could learn working with Karlsson, it's akin, not exactly, but it's akin to what guys have learned from Kane, especially Kasper. Marco Kasper's game, I believe, really surged when he got to work with Patrick Kane on the ice, and now they feed off each other. Kasper's got another year of that, and he's going to be so much better off for it. So if they brought in Karlsson, and you give Edvinsson a chance to work with him, and you give Seider a chance to talk to him and see him on the ice, he can teach them things about scoring and the power play and how he crafted his game in something like a 100-point season over in San Jose. And there just aren't too many defensemen that can give you that kind of information. So if Karlsson really is available for a lower price, if he agreed to come to Detroit, some retention, and you can move out Berggren and maybe Hall, I gotta say that I'd be fine with it. It's something that you would still have some kind of improvement on the second pairing, especially. So keep your eyes open, because that chatter is hit. But finally, Simon Edvinsson's going to hit the ice tonight. This is such a big year for him because it's a contract year. And Luke Hughes just got $9 million a year. That's more than what Seider got. You've got two things happening now. You've got the cap going up, so player pricing is going up. But you also have Detroit's internal cap, where they're not going to pay Edvinsson more than Seider. So Seider is at $8.55, 7 years, no bonuses. Larkin also has no bonuses built in. So Edvinsson, I talked about this over the summer, his comparables with Hughes aren't that far off, and that was his first full year. So if Edvinsson can push forward and get a 40-point season this year, or is on track for that by the time they get an extension done, you're really starting to look at that $8 million extension for long term. Because Bob Kaiser, if you didn't hear it when they were talking about the red and white game, there are people that think he's going to give Seider another top defenseman if they're eventually paired together. And if he shows any of that this season, like I said, if he's on pace for 40 plus points this season, I don't think $8 million per year is out of the question. And again, his comparables with Hughes are not that far off. He's already hitting over 21 minutes a night. He was the second highest scoring defenseman for Detroit last season. And though nobody pays attention to this anymore, he was the only plus player on the blue line at a plus 12. Every other blue liner in Detroit was a minus. So interesting to watch Edvinsson tonight and going forward, because right now with the deal Hughes got, with the cap going up, I think you're really going to be circling in at that $8 million, and the agent could make an argument that his comparables aren't that far off of Luke Hughes. So look for that and let me know what you think. Where do you put Edvinsson at dollar-wise? Would you take Karlsson if the price is right and, if the pieces aren't overwhelming to get him in? Waivers. Is Comfer going to hit waivers? And do you think anyone would pick him up? Is Berggren going to hit waivers if they don't make a deal, because he's right on the cusp? And again, Finney and Brandsegg-Nygard continue to look like someone that Detroit has a lot of interest in keeping up. Just being completely frank, and by the way, Mazur's hurt. Kopp is listed as hurt on cap wages, but there's no update. We've already got injuries creeping in that could give people jobs. Danielson's hurt, he can no longer fight for a job. I think Emmett Finney's going to be on the team opening night at this point. I don't know where he's going to be, but he's playing 200 feet really well, and they seem to really like him. They seem to really like Brandsegg-Nygard as well, and the openings are there. But James Van Riemsdyk's in town, and we haven't had a chance to see how he functions. Brandsegg-Nygard or Finney, one of them, it seems like, is going to be on the roster opening night, especially if Mazur's out now. Finney's more of a direct competitor for what Mazur was going to be doing. MBN, I just don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But let me know what you think. Of those two guys, if it's only one, who's going to be on the roster? Injuries are piling up. Kopp looked like he was really fighting for a gig, but if he's already hurt, that probably improves Comfort's chances of not having to hit the wire before the season starts. Anyway, I'll have some thoughts after the game. We're getting really close to getting that final roster in place, and Van Riemsdyk is going to figure in somewhere. We just have to see where. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.